Free services, Lavazzi and Who1.co.uk present the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast, episode 593. I'm Adam. Oh, I didn't think about doing a quote. And here's Mary Lang.
Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, I should have thought of that one.
Mr. Sandman,
yes,
send me a dream.
Oh, God.
Make it the cutest
That'll do.
that
Thank
I've
you.
ever seen.
Yes, thank you. That'll do. And Kirby Bartlett Sloan, who's gutted, sorry, that he can't sing that number that you just did.
Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah. So it's Sleep No More, but if you listen to this show, you won't have any problem with that.
Yeah, that's right. We'll send you right off there.
Yeah. Or will Andy Nunny do that? Because Andy Nunny has feedback stroke synopsis,
yes.
Which we are now going to start the show with, because it's got to the stage that none of us can be bothered with a proper synopsis.
Oh, I like that idea, starting with his.
Good. Well, you've sort over most of it, so we'll have to go back and replay it. Here we go.
Good evening, 20 megabytes. It's Andy Nunny here. It's just come to 6 o'clock
Very quiet,
on
Andy
Sunday
Nunny.
night. A week off work, hurrah! And yesterday I did loads of ironing and watched Sleep No More, quite appropriate for me with my insomnia. It's a shame, because this actually was a good idea, the way it was being done with the video of somebody warning people. Well, you think it's warning, and it turns out it's not to be warning, it's actually gloating. And the concept of that, and also the picking up from cameras and from various people's visions, it's a cleverly done story, but the script itself just wasn't very good. I mean, dust monsters that sleep, that are going to take over the whole universe. It just didn't work, did it? I'm afraid. It's you had all the red shirts. It's fairly obvious they were all going to get killed off, weren't they? And only Clara and the Doctor would survive. The Doctor realising things far too late, and it just didn't flow. It just didn't work from the point of view of storyline. I couldn't get interested in the characters themselves. There was there's nothing there to grab hold of. You didn't really understand what the guy's motive was. What was he actually trying to do? And so all in all, nah. You saying it?
Yeah, not quite. Okay, wasn't quite a synopsis, was it?
There was no synopsis.
Cheers, Andy. Well, I'm not going to do a synopsis, but we will sort of outline the story a little bit more as it was. Actually, the beginning was quite good, where they were. I had a funny feeling that they were going to end up with on a spaceship, and there were some strangers, and of course it was Doctor and Clara. And I quite liked the conversation that the Doctor and Clara were having when they arrived in the area where they were. I'm not quite sure. Sorry?
I said, yeah.
Yeah, it was a very sort of day-to-day sort of conversation. Very well written, I thought, the dialogue was in this story, to be fair. Obviously, the grunts, the sort of cloned soldiers were quite a good concept, I felt. Although, you started off with Chopra being a bit sort of offish with the grunt that fancied him, and then towards the end of the story was a bit more sort of sympathetic towards it. So I quite like that sort of relationship development between the two of them. It was a base under siege. We have so many base under siege stories in Doctor Who, but they have got to do them because it's a tradition of the show. I like the fact that the song that Mary sung, Sandman song, and they've turned it to something a bit more, albeit slightly silly, a bit more scary in a monster-wise.
Yeah.
Of course, they got when Clara went into the machine. It turns out she had a bit of something in her eye. It reminded me a little bit of Amy in the Weeping Angel story as well. There's a bit of something in her eye as well, wasn't there? So the story-wise, it was just basically them sort of running around a spaceship trying to escape these Sandmen, and gradually getting bumped off as they went, and all being manipulated by the bloke who played Patrick Troughton in Adventures in Space and Time.
He was better in this role than he was as Patrick Troughton.
He was, yeah, but it wasn't Patrick Troughton very long in that other one, was he?
No, but still, he was better.
I'll give you that. He was better. So yeah, he said the story didn't Andy said the story didn't really have much going for it. I felt it was a fairly decent story, quite dramatically acted, dramatically presented. Obviously, the low light helps that. There was an element of, grippingness when that the bloke was trying to get into that room, and he was trying to, they said the machine was saying, "No, who are you?" And well, what's the song? Sing the song, and. Obviously he was quivering and trying to sing. Mary did a better rendition, let's put it that way, of that song that he was attempting to sing.
He was scared.
Yeah, well, he's not going to sing particularly clearly when you're scared, are you? And the scene where they had the pods where all the crew or whoever it was were sleeping in, and creating these little cameras that were bits of dust flush. Again, it's quite an interesting concept, but. That reminded me a little bit of Passengers, a superb film that's one of my faves, if you ever get a chance to watch it. And so all in all, it was a half decent story, and probably the last one that Clara will survive, to be fair, and she did rather well to survive that one. I don't have a real problem. Have I missed anything, Kirby, in regards to aspects of the plot?
Well, one thing that last year during the 60th, people were talking about Rose, the new character of Rose, being the first trans character, and actually 474, the Grunt, was the first trans character. 9 years, or trans actress.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
9 years before.
I didn't pick up on that, but okay.
Well, when we were talking about this 9 years ago, we kept going back and forth, she, he, whatever.
Yeah, I think that the Grunt is a sort of like a clone thing. I don't think if it was played by a trans actor, fair enough. But in my sort of view, trans people have transitioned from one to the other, and therefore forevermore should be, thought of as the new gender they are, and forget about old
474 was being referred to as she.
Good, well that's right then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that at all, to be fair, Kirby. I just thought of the Grunt as a character that fancied another character in it. So but I accept that Moffat was. I don't think they was deliberately done. Oh, we must put this character in because they're trans. I think.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think it was just a character, and
right.
So I think they just
which is how it should be. It's how it should be done.
It's just they're clutching at straws a little bit there with trying to say, the first of this, the last of that. I think just get on and enjoy the story. It doesn't matter who plays what in it.
Get on with it.
Yes. Anything else, Kirby, that we may have missed thanks to Andy's sort of rather short, non-existent synopsis?
I did like the combination of Japanese and Indian elements as the two governments had kind of merged and were now the rulers of Earth.
Oh yeah, was that what you was talking about when you said because when they said that tectonic plates that Japan and India had sort of emerged, I thought, that's they must have been massively into the future then, because as far as I was concerned, India had collided with Asia billions of years ago, and it was still ploughing into Asia and making the mountains higher. But
and you get a lot of that in there, like there's references to that, like when he wasn't being allowed into the one room, and the computer was joking that, or saying that it was a joke, that there was a key to get into the room. He had to sing the song. The crew had done that during a festival, which was actually a combined festival of Japanese and Indian things. 9 years ago, Captain Kirk mentioned it in his commentary. I don't know if he'll do it again in this one.
Yeah, and saying about Captain Kirk and stuff, this is sort of something that I'm sort of going to mention now because it is topical. Because you're talking about the Japan and India merge, and I hadn't actually noticed that it was basically an Asian cast, which of course which it should be, but it's all well and good. We're now in 2024. We're still talking about the mixing of races or creeds within dramas, within television, film, or whatever. We're all human beings, so why don't they just get on with it? I just started to get a bit bored because if you go back to Star Trek, the late 60s.
Get on with it!
Yes, well, Star Trek.
We're being so self-conscious about everything.
Yes, they're people, they're humans. And this is what's so wonderful about Star Trek, going back to the late 60s. They brought in Nichelle Nichols and they brought in George Takei to play, an ensemble cast. There wasn't that much. Oh yes, this is this is Uhura. She's an African lady who's an officer on the start. Yeah, I think you could say in the 60s, bearing in mind what was happening with with a racial thing going on in America a little bit earlier than that, but within the same decade, it was quite a brave thing to do, and quite a wonderful thing to do. And but this is like over 50 years later, isn't it? I mean, it's. Come on, let's get on with it.
Get on with it.
But
now, when did you want us to talk about what we thought?
Well,
of the whole
I thought
thing?
you were talking about it now.
Well, no, you were just asking me if you missed anything.
Oh no, because normally when we used to do the synopses, Kirby, you used to sort of interrupt and sort of pick up things that you picked up.
I didn't have there was nothing to do. So can I now give my opinion?
You can. I'm just cleaning the lens of my phone, which is causing all sorts of funny things. So, yeah, you can, Kirby. Yes, please do. Tell me. I think I've mentioned what I thought of it.
I sort of liked it 9 years ago, although it was pretty much at the bottom of this series. But
season.
This series was better than the one before. But I actually liked it better watching it the other night. I watched it 2 nights ago, and actually rather enjoyed it.
I rather enjoyed it, Kirby. To be fair,
it's. I think the fact that at the time we were talking about these things 1 or 2 days after broadcast, and we hadn't had a chance to percolate on them.
Maybe not.
And now it's 9 years later. The in some ways the bogey monsters more recently were worse than these things.
Yeah, I did notice that they did look like blokes in suits, which I quite like. It's a Doctor Who thing, isn't it? And it's also an early Star Trek thing. All the monsters look like blokes in suits, and the bogeyman didn't look too much like a bloke in a suit. But when you see the behind the scenes stuff, it clearly was a bloke in a suit. And I like that. I like it when they are able to put a suit on a man and make it look like a convincing alien.
The sleep what were they called?
Sandmen?
Clara Sandmen. Yeah. Sandman reminds me of Logan's Run. Sorry. They had one of the costumes on display at the Experience, so you might have seen it when you went to the Doctor Who Experience.
Oh, sorry, I thought.
But overall, it was fun. I liked the little girl group doing the song, and I don't know if I should say it now or when I handle feedback. And that is, if we have any feedback, which we didn't have half an hour ago. I had noticed, and I posted the picture of the two things together. Oh, good. There's some feedback.
Hooray.
That they made a direct reference, at least I'm interpreting it as a direct reference, to Monkey by reproducing a certain view of it. Basically, it's mimicking Buddha holding Monkey in Buddha's hand. And I just love that because I'm a big Monkey fan.
Yes, I know you're a big Monkey fan. I used to like Monkey. I used to like watching that. We used to watch it during dinner time during the weeks. Anyway, back to I forgot to mention. You said about feedback. Obviously, we're running live as usual on the 20 Megabyte Doctor Academy. Let's try that again. The 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast Facebook group, which you can join. And Lillian Robbins started proceedings while I was still setting up everything by saying hi. Terry Miles said hi everyone, and then Lillian Robbins said hi Terry. And that's all we've had so far. So.
That's it?
3 people
really?
Watching. 3 people. One of them's probably me. Mary.
And we have.
What?
Oh, good. We're actually getting some feedback. Boy, that
they're probably waiting to see if we're actually
wait a
going to do the
while.
show today. That's probably, if I'm not sending feedback if they're not recording. Right,
But
okay.
one was 15 minutes ago, one was 16 minutes ago, and one was Ian Kirk. Which,
Right. Well, I'm trying to. I've been actually one other thing I didn't set up while having copious amounts of time to do so was the priority jingles folder, which is quite a vital aspect.
well, just let me know when I should read feedback.
You can't yet because I'm waiting for a certain sound effect to. Oh, here we go. Come up so as we can do Mary's views on.
Oh, that's right. She hasn't given us her
more.
opinion yet.
Right, I'm just waiting for my computer, who's been very busy. It's very tired and very slow at the moment due to being very busy and very. It should be in its in a retirement home. This machine, but it's still working hard. So yes, no, see what I mean. I should play the lift music while the machine decides to play the jingle. Yes, go on then, Mary.
Well, I don't remember what I thought of it back when we first saw it. I know that I was probably, deep into my hatred of the Clara show, so I probably had a very bad opinion. But watching this, isolated from all of that, this was very well done. I was totally engaged in it. I mean, the fact that they were all the different camera angles, that we were constantly seeing things from different points of view, that the lighting was all just flashlights. So it just made it, extra spooky.
Yeah.
I really liked all, and I think the acting on everyone's part was very well done.
Yeah.
And I agree with Kirby that conversation that Clara and the doctor were having when they were getting out of the TARDIS, and it just was so natural.
Yeah.
Again, good writing in that. And I like that the doctor was the doctor and Clara was, not the one in charge. I really appreciate that. The only thing that really, I don't know, stuck out for me in terms of, couldn't they have done better, were the monsters. They were so rubbish. I mean, the idea of a monster being made of dust from your eyes and skin cells and stuff, and then somehow they
like a
can take over
bogeyman, you
the world. It made me remember the rubbish monsters in Dot and Bubble. I mean, those were pretty rubbish monsters too, and I'd say that these compete pretty closely with how rubbish those were. So if it weren't for monsters that I just could not appreciate, everything else was really well done. Now, Kirby, did you listen to us many years ago?
Absolutely. And you are more enthusiastic now than you were 9 years ago, but you weren't negative 9 years ago.
Oh, okay.
You were moderately positive, and you made note that Clara wasn't being the boss that you'd seen in other times.
Well, and the thing is, this story felt like, they'd kind of reached like a pinnacle. This is how the Doctor Who stories should be. This is how the Doctor and the companion should be. Everything was like just right in this story. Yeah. And yet we know that Clara's going to be gone in a very short time.
We even knew it then, but we were all going, we were all focusing on, since we didn't know what was going to happen, we're all focusing on the fact that she had been sort of infected by the machine, that's what was going to get her the next week. And it turned out it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Well, I suppose that was typical if it wouldn't be.
The speck in her eye played no part in the future. Okay. Okay. So, that's nice to hear that I wasn't totally negative then. Because, I think this showed, good writing, creative thinking, good direction, good acting. It just, it's like, this is the Doctor Who that I love.
And you can see that Mark Gatiss wrote Doctor Who too. Right?
9 years ago, Master was not using the sound effect yet.
Right.
Really?
So
That's probably because I've been waiting. I remember at the time gathering or sampling that sound effect. It used to appear so randomly on BBC shows when obviously a moment of mock drama occurred, and I thought, once it does happen when I'm on a program I've actually recorded, I'm having that. And normally somebody will talk over part of it, but on this occasion they didn't, and they might have done right at the end, so I was able to fade out anything on that, and it had the nice crispy sound, and that's how I ended up with it. I'll still use it at work, If someone's being mock dramatic, I'll say, hang on, I'll put on my phone and go type it in and press play, and it'll come up.
Yeah, this was much better than I had remembered it.
Yeah, this was much better than anything that I saw this whole last season.
Yeah.
I like the whole idea of the found footage. I like the way that they did the titles in the little word search at the beginning.
I've forgotten they'd done that. Well, they didn't do the titles until the end, and they've done that recently, more recent. I think one of the Shooty stories did that, didn't they? Just went straight into the episode and put the titles at the end. And that was quite innovative.
The title's at the beginning of this one in those letters.
Oh, is it?
And it says Peter Capaldi. It says what's her name as well.
I didn't get that on the one I watched. It just went straight into the episode.
I didn't get it either.
It was just fair. No, it just went straight into the episode, and you were waiting. It was like a pre-title sequence, and I was waiting for the title to happen, and they never happened. It just came at the end. It said "Sleep No More" by Mark Gatiss, and then the Peter Capaldi, Jenna Coleman, and the rest of the cast rolled up the screen.
Yeah.
I'll prove it to you in the feedback in a few minutes.
Okay, well, I can also prove it to you if you so need me to. But I can't play a 40-minute episode on a bit of proving, I'm afraid. But anyway,
it's like within a few seconds. But right now, I've got to probably read the feedback.
Well, we all sort of slightly disagree on well, I do anyway, in the amount of episodes in which Clara was the doctor or was the leader of the crew. It seems to me, after coming virtually to the end of the era with Clara, that it wasn't as much as we thought was, or as we remember it being.
And I agree with you. So I don't know how we got this impression that she was in charge for so much of her time.
Yeah, and we kept saying that back then, and it wasn't.
So it's strange how the brain does things, isn't it? How it convinces you convince yourself something that you've never thought. It's just really weird. But anyway, so coming to the end of Jenna as Clara. I think there's a cameo towards the end of the series, but and there's another little cameo at the end of Capaldi's last story. So I think we'll probably pay a bit of tribute to Jenna Coleman next time.
But once she's gone, if Capaldi, because not just Capaldi, but the doctor missed her so much that he just kept.
That might be why, because he's kept on banging on about it.
But then about her, that maybe we have that impression that she was a part of it much longer.
But the 10th Doctor banged on about Rose for a long time, probably longer, I would imagine. And of course, the 11th Doctor initially banged on about Amy for a bit and then used Clara as a bit of a safety blanket to try and forget about Amy. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting.
Yeah, remember there's the whole business where she's going to run off with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's a bit.
Oh yeah.
Bit, right, we'll find out about that later. We'll see how we thought about it. We'll see how we think about that when we get there. But anyway. So, you said you had some feedback, Kirby.
Yes.
On the one I'm looking at,
Terry
I don't see anything.
Terry Miles says, I didn't like this.
I've got an email from Terry Miles.
Well, I've also got feedback
from
25 minutes ago.
Go on then.
I didn't like this as it was just another Inside Number 9 show, not Doctor Who.
Oh, I don't quite agree with that.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't either.
What's Inside Number 9?
I don't know.
It's
Mr. M.
It's a weekly show.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my understanding is it's a weekly show where there's like a horrible thing inside, one of the hotel rooms in every episode. I could be wrong.
Mr. M, who's been listening to us since practically the beginning, says bum 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 bum. Apologies. I missed last week's episode. Suffice to say, the Zygon invitation is a mixed bag with some good and some bad ideas, some of which are well executed and some of which are not. I would give part 1 7 out of 10 and part 2 an 8 out of 10. Sleep No More by Mark Gatiss. On first broadcast, this episode went down like a lead balloon, and I agreed with much of the criticism at the time. But over the years, with successive rewatches, I've mostly changed my opinion. Mm-hmm. This is a good story, but one which suffers from an incoherency in a plot that hinges on the ta-da reveal at the episode's conclusion. A lot of this blame can be placed on the central conceit, he's misspelled conceit, of this being a found footage story, and so I can forgive the episode for most of these mistakes due to the panache and style with which this format is presented. Oh, and Jenna Coleman is hot. 7 out of 10.
Very pregnant
next
at the
time.
moment.
7 out of 10. Next time. That's so Raven.
That's so Raven.
Let me refresh this, see if anything else has come through. And it hasn't, so carry on.
Yeah. Well, Terry Miles says, this story was very reminiscent of the Insider Number 9 stories. Oh, Insider Number 9 stories, okay. Sorry, but we didn't like this, so I'll be very short this week. This was a Base Under Siege episode. Reese Shearsmith was his usual weird self, and everybody dies. Well, not everybody. Lynn was happy to see Neat Mohan, a.k.a. Rash, from Holby City, and Casualty. A few good quotes. Sleep is vital. Sleep is wonderful. Even I sleep. When? When you're not looking. So what happened? From the beginning of time, that's a very long story. So what are your... what you are... What? So what you are rescue... So... Hang on, I've got to read this one quite carefully. So what? You are a rescue mission. Oh, got it. So what? You are a rescue mission? Yes. Of 4? Cuts pet. Oh, I should have done that in a Newcastle accent. And of course, could be anything. Meteorite strike, space pirates. See, not just pirates, space pirates. I quite like that dialogue about space everything. That was quite good. Brings to mind space babies. Space babies, yes. Oh well, next time, or next up, bye Clara. I should get Mary to read these bits, shouldn't I?
Yes.
But yeah, let's see what else we got in my little file of feedback from quite a while ago. That rhymes, by the way. File and while ago. Don't think I've got anything to be fair. Oh yeah, I've got this. Hang on. Means I've got to go into my priority jingles folder. I should have gone in there initially, but I actually I'll just do a search for it instead. That's how I came up with the other bit. Ian. Oh. Search isn't working particularly quickly at the moment. Oh, good lord. Back to the traditional standard of slickness.
Hello, 20 Megabyte Podcast. This is Ian Kirk.
Oh, hello, Ian.
Sleep No More by Mark Gatiss. The title is a quote from Shakespeare's Macbeth. There was a brief fad for found footage horror, started by the Blair Witch Project, and this is Doctor Who's entry for the genre. By coincidence, we now have RTD back, and keen on characters addressing the camera. Nagata has an accent from Newcastle, a city in the northeast of England. She calls people pet, which is common in Newcastle.
Yes.
This raises the question of how long local accents will last in the future.
True.
The space station around Neptune is named after Le Verrier, the man who discovered Neptune.
Oh.
On the one hand, this story is criticising capitalism for wanting to rob people of sleep. But on the other, when the actors are interviewed, they usually mention the long days they have to work on the show. Previously, the Doctor altered the moon landing footage to cause all humans to attack the Silence. Rasmussen seems to have been taken over by the creatures his researchers created, and has created a video which will cause all humans to become like him. The Doctor fails to stop him. Presumably someone does, unless this is a parallel universe where humanity gets wiped out. I saw the new Deadpool film yesterday, which is another of Marvel's parallel universe tales. This is an unusual story for Doctor Who, but I won't lose any sleep over it. Bye for now.
I didn't know that the Deadpool film was a Doctor Who story, and it was unusual. I have seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. Spoiler free. Okay, right. So,
Master.
What?
What was the name of the story that Leela was in that was set on Pluto?
Can't remember.
With the Gatherer and
Sunmakers.
Sunmakers, yes. One thing I ran across while doing some stuff about this is the actress who played 474, the Grunt, was very excited at being invited to be on Doctor Who, and she confused who was the showrunner at this time.
Well, Stephen Moffat, or at the time.
This is Moffat, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, she confused Moffat by asking when she read the script and read the script and seeing when it was set and where it was set. She was wondering if there would be some stuff on the moons of Pluto because it's the same century as that story.
All right. Okay.
And I'm thinking Gatiss may have been thinking some of that too because of the emphasis on working all the time.
Yeah. Well,
but she Bethany Black is very much a Whovian.
Well, obviously to have picked up on that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So moving on to Doctor Who news. Quite a lot of stuff which is a bit sort of not particularly interesting. The first bit of news is Doctor Who news connected with FantasyCon. Fraser Hines is no longer able to appear at FantasyCon simply because he's got an acting job, and at his age to get an acting job, especially a theatrical acting job, yes, I can totally understand why he's jumped at the chance. So we're looking at a potential replacement for Fraser, but obviously at the moment we've still got Wendy, we've still got Sylvester, and we've still got Jeff Rawle from people who have been in the show. So also a companion 60 Years of Doctor Who Assistants is a book written by Andy Frankham Allen, and it says it's joined by Philip Bates. While we're talking about books, actually, I'm currently listening to a book by Patrick Stewart called something on the lines of Making It So or something like that. I tell you what, I know he's an old chap, but he's got some stories to tell, that Patrick Stewart chap. Thoroughly recommend. I'm listening to it at the moment as an audiobook, the unabridged version. Oh my God, it's just so riveting. It really is. So get a chance to, I'd say listen to it because it's Patrick Stewart's own voice telling the stories, and it does give it a certain degree of gravitas. But if you want to read it as a worded book by paper or whatever, so you may get it signed by Sir Patrick at some point, just try and imagine while you're reading it Patrick Stewart's dulcet tones. But if you're American, you might struggle when he's doing his northern accent. But anyway, so that's a really good book I can recommend to you. The Lucy Wilson Mysteries looks like some weird cartoony thing, judging by the cover. And there's some more of these Lethbridge Stewart books as well, written by Jonathan Blum. It's an Intelligence Task Force as a book coming out. News that Mary will be aware of and potentially quite excited about, apart from the fact that Mandeep Gill is reprising her role as Yasmin Khan, is the 13th Doctor is going to be on Big Finish.
I doubt I'll be listening to any of those stories.
I would dabble, Mary, simply because, as I've said in the past, and this is my argument about Doctor Who not coming to the end of its sort of freshness, because obviously it depends on the writing, and Big Finish keeps going, writing stories for Doctors who are no longer here. So I've got a funny feeling, and that's what we always said about the 13th Doctor. She was great. the stories weren't so. I'd just dabble in it, Mary, just to see if that is actually
Well,
true.
that's true. That's true because the Big Finish writers seem to like resurrect the images of a lot of characters in Doctor Who, primarily the doctors themselves. So yeah, you're right. There may be better stories. I just hope that they don't go into, the relationship between the Doctor and her companion in the stories. But yeah, I probably will listen because again, it's Big Finish and they do write well.
Yeah, I mean, if you have done, you do get to listen to it, and I'm unaware of the fact you may have. Oh, the dog was coming. You may have listened to it. Please butt in and say, oh, by the way, I listened to a new Big Finish story starring. I've forgotten her name now. 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. That's one. So I'd be interested to hear, if it is better in that particular genre. Seeing the cover of Doctor Who magazine 606, what a good number that is. It was 666 and it was Sutek on the cover. That'd be even better, wouldn't it? Reminds me of a new slogan for the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast. So I could say, the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast. I bring you Adam's gift of podcast to all Whovians.
Ooh, that's good.
But not quite in the right voice. So that looks like a good issue. I presume you can probably get it at who1.co.uk, but I'm certain if you Google
it. Is that who1.co.uk?
And you probably find it somewhere if you live in the US. It used to be run by Marvel, Doctor Who magazine, maybe years ago. Yes, it's a lovely picture of the new now dead Sutek, no spoilers there, and of course there's a lovely tribute to William Russell within the pages of the book. I'm seeing quite a lot of people posting pictures on social media of themselves with the very thin and gaunt Tom Baker, but still got that smile. So he's still,
yes.
I think what people are doing, they know what town Tom lives in, and they go to that town, just wait for him to get up in the morning and get his early morning paper, and then jump in for a selfie with him. Anyway, Suzanne Churchman, 1925 to 2024, has died. She's an actress, or she was, sorry. She worked on 11 episodes of Doctor Who, providing a voice for Alpha Centauri.
That little high-pitched voice.
I
she was like she was in the room there, Mary.
In Empress of Mars.
Yeah, which I was going to read on. The Hermaphrodites Hexapod.
Which was a Mark Gatiss story.
Yeah, who appeared alongside John Pertwee's third Doctor in the two Peladon stories in the early 1970s. She returned to the character in 2017 alongside 12th Doctor Peter Capaldi in The Empress of Mars. And wasn't it nice the fact that she was still with us and was still able to do that, rather like Gabriel Wolfe was to be able to do Sutek more recently. And I do hope, obviously, Gabriel Wolfe is going to be able to do something else with Doctor Who, because he's got a great voice. The War Between the Land and the Sea, Doctor Who spin-offs, Kirby, yes. Doctor Who I'm not sure about Doctor Who spin-offs. I know RTD is announced...
of the Sarah Jane Adventures or Torchwood?
No, all right, shut your face, all right. Well, I'm not sure myself. Obviously, I'll have to dabble, see what they're like. But he announces that the one magnificent and unattainable for me to go to, the San Diego Comic-Con, which has been, from what I've seen, dabbling in certain TikToks that have come out, it's been amazing. One of which, obviously, was this announcement, and having Shooty there with Millie and RTD talking about these potential spin-offs. It says the BBC have announced that Russell Tovey and Gugu Mbatha Raw, sorry if I've said that wrong, will lead a cast of new Doctor Who spin-off series, The War Between the Land and the Sea, presumably with Sea Devils in them, because I heard a mention of Sea Devils. And as it says here, the new series, produced by the BBC and Disney Plus, was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. The series is created by Doctor Who showrunner and executive producer Russell T Davies, who has written the series with Pete McThee, or Thigh, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
I would say McTighe.
A Discovery.
So it's a unit story, huh?
I don't know.
Sounds like it.
Oh yeah, because Kate's in it, isn't it? Kate Lethbridge Stewart, isn't it? A Discovery of Witches, of Pact and Doctor Who. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, it's interesting. But what particularly interesting?
They're bringing back Colonel Ibrahim.
Okay, but what interests me about this is that, and we enjoyed this particular series of Doctor Who that's just been on as a family. All the family have raved about it, and but then I get this Deb coming up to me and says, "It's a flop, isn't it?" Is it? Is it a flop? I don't know.
No.
I've heard it's a flop through Deb, so Deb must have heard it through somewhere else. Yet, if it's a flop, why would Disney be wasting money on doing spin-offs?
Master.
Yes.
The BBC also recently came out and said this was one of that this whole recent season series, whatever you want to call it, was one of their best rated things for the past year. They only have one thing that was higher. I can't put my finger on the exact article now, but it's like Earth Station Who linked to it as other things like that. It's just it took a while for them to crunch the numbers because the numbers don't come out immediately. Plus, there were all those people who were going, "It's the worst thing ever."
Yeah, I know they were as well, but they always do that. Whenever Doctor Who, new series of Doctor Who comes out, people will say it's the worst thing ever. I think the only time it didn't happen is when Eccleston's show came out and they said, "Oh, it's going to be the worst thing ever," and turned out, well, it's actually quite good. And it's now you get people coming up moaning about it. It's just Doctor Who fans. You don't get that with any other genre, do you? Any other franchise?
I bet you do.
No,
it's
you
just
don't.
that I don't watch much.
No,
else.
you don't. Doctor Who is it's almost like a sort of a sect in some ways. You know, you get these. Oh, I only like the original series. Oh, I only like the new series. As you know, I like everything. So I try not to, but at the end of the day, I just can't. I try to like other franchises and struggle to, force myself to watch stuff. I mean, that's the trouble with the Star Wars thing. I was really, really into The Mandalorian, and I tried watching the Boba Fett thingy, and got 2 episodes in, thinking, I don't really want to watch the rest of this. So stopped, and then tried to watch Mandalorian again, but realised I had to watch the whole of the Boba Fett to actually start watching the last series of Mandalorian, which is really frustrating, so I didn't. And I think the last one I sort of slightly enjoyed was the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and I'm having met that lovely little girl who plays Princess Leia, I'm quite pleased with her. She's fab. Although we haven't heard of her being in anything else.
So you're not caught up with everything. You haven't watched
No.
No. I don't remember the name of the most recent one.
No, I haven't watched any of it because I've sort of lost interest again in the Star Wars franchise for the time being, at least.
They kind of overdid it. They just kept coming out with more and more and more until it's like, enough already.
They're rinsing it, aren't they? Rinsing it dry.
I don't know. I'm enjoying it. So.
Okay, well, that's good then. But you made me forget what I was going to say, Star Trek. Oh, yes, I did just pick up on Star Trek Picard Series 3 for a bit longer. So I just persevered with that episode when I thought, oh, God, this is disgusting. Everybody's dying. And they're still doing that a little bit. But it got quite interesting when they brought in all the old next-gen cast and stuff. And so that made it for me a bit more engaging. So I do plan to continue watching that. I stopped again because what gets me with things like this, and a bit like the bit with the Zygons in some ways, when you've got an alien race that can completely duplicate you, so you don't know whether you're watching the real person or a mock of the real person. It gets a bit, oh God, I just want this to be that person, that to be that person, so I can see how they interact and how one person, if it's a baddie or a good. Oh God, I'm getting interrupted. Well, I've said something wrong.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I said something wrong, haven't I?
No,
I'm just saying that too much of the, at least with the Zygons, they were just, when they were humans, we didn't know who they were. So if they changed into a Zygon, it didn't really matter. But when it was, Zygon Clara or whatever, it started to get a bit. The only way we knew it's different because Clara wasn't actually Clara; she was Bonnie, so it was a different person using Clara's body. So it was a clear difference and an opportunity for Jenna to act a different role. But in the current Picard series that I'm watching, they've got these shape changes, a bit like Odo, I suppose, that are completely, you don't know who they are because they're infiltrating the crew of the ship. Not going to say Enterprise, nearly did, and so you don't know whether they're real or not. And if it goes on for the whole series, like a series arc, it gets a bit boring, That's why I like the old format of Star Trek, where it was an episode, all standalone episodes. There might be a little theme that might be picked up in a later episode, or they might have a story that sort of refers to a previous episode. But I'm starting to get to the point, after reading this Patrick Stewart book, of going back and rewatching Star Trek: The Next Generation. The trouble is, when I watched it last time, I planned to watch it through to all the movies, then pick up Picard. But where these new Star Trek series, and I'm not talking about Strange New Worlds, because again I've got to go back to watching that. I got a little bit on the depressing side. There's a little bit of humour in there, but not enough. But it is more interesting Picard-wise when you have that old ensemble of the crew of the Enterprise together in that series, all as old people or whatever. But so. That's me. I'm not talking about what I've watched this week. I'm just saying this is how I get sort of a bit bored of not duplicate stories, doppelganger stories and stuff like that. Get a bit, I do like Zygons, I will say, as a monster. Yes.
Yeah. When you posted 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast episode 592 earlier today, you said Zygon double bill, Adam, Kirby, and Debbie. Yes, the real ones, not the Zygons. I just wanted to let you know I'm going to go titivate my fronds after we're done.
Okay, good. Just don't broadcast that on the show if you don't mind, because there might be children listening. Probably not, though. So that's Doctor Who on news, as far as I know, unless you've heard anything else that isn't on the 20th.
Well, there's more video out about the Christmas special, which I haven't seen yet. That just hasn't made it to.
Yes, that Irish bird who was in Bridgerton and in Derry Girls. She's in it, isn't she? She's very excited.
Yeah, I have not seen this yet, though.
Oh.
And also there was more about the spin-off series, which I also I've been busy.
Yes, Mary, you're going to say something.
I was just saying that I've seen the trailer for the Christmas episode, and it looks like fun.
It does, yeah. But you would hope so, wouldn't you? They always get Christmas episodes wrong.
Hoping,
yeah, they're good at getting the Christmas episodes wrong.
If we go over what we've been doing for the past week or two, I will discuss why I've been busy.
Why you've been what?
Why I was too busy to watch the stuff from San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about, before I move on to the next bit, because we haven't been to the cinema for ages, simply because of being too busy, but we couldn't not go and see Deadpool and Wolverine. Sorry, Deadpool Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, how was that?
Well, let me speak. I will say. I think with Deadpool, it's almost like slapstick dancing comedy extravaganza. And if you don't know when you watch the first film, that's what you watch, and it starts off, you think, oh God, it's a bit gratuitous, and then you get it, and when you realise it's comedy, sort of slapstick, and beautifully choreographed, whether it be through CGI or actual dancing and stuntmen or whatever, then you can't really appreciate it. Now, obviously, I've only seen the first two Deadpool films once, but this one makes me want to go and watch the first. Sorry, this one makes me want to go and watch the first two films. It is. I was going to fight because Isabella likes saying the word masterpiece when she likes something that's been a film or a TV show, and we were all gushing about it. And we were doing Grayson's christening today, and I say, well, yeah, we haven't really discussed the film, have we? So I was waiting for her to say, she just absolutely loved it. I was waiting for her to say masterpiece, but judging by obviously the director and the writers and or the people behind it, it had the potential to be a masterpiece because it had all the right people behind it. As a bit of comedy for me personally, I haven't been to the cinema and laughed so much for probably several decades. I mean, there was points in which something funny happened, and I was still laughing about it. I was trying to stop myself laughing about it because it was putting me off carrying on watching the film because I was trying to stifle my laughter because obviously the big laugh had sort of petered away, and I'm still there going because it sort of really tickled me. There's a bit where they're having a fight in this Honda, and Deadpool gets hit by Wolverine and gets the end of his penis, and I know it's not a spoiler for the plot, but it did happen in the film. But he gets the end of his penis with one of his little claw knives, and he said, you got the end of it with your steak knife, and that had me in stitches for ages, and it was. It's the sort of thing that makes me laugh. Sorry, I was a bit stupid. But anyway, it's quite the story. It's a bit timey-wimey, so I quite like that. Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds just brilliant. He's got so much charisma. He can do everything, can't he? He's a good-looking bugger. He can do comedy. He can sing. It's a bit annoying, really, isn't it, in some ways. Wonder if he can do podcasting. Anyway, so he's great, and he obviously loves the part. So he's just great. And the cameos on it, and I'm not going to tell you the cameos because you have to see the film. But and if also the MCU or whatever, just watch it. It's funny anyway. The cameos are a delight, and there's always. I think every few minutes there's somebody appearing in it. You think, And talking about cameos, this is a good segue to the. San Diego Comic-Con. The big announcement at the Comic-Con was, of course, Avengers Doomsday. And somebody came on the stage, and this isn't a spoiler because it's out there. Somebody came on the stage with a silver mask on, a Doom, obviously, and the mask was taken off, and there was Robert Downey Jr., who's coming back to Avengers to play Doom. Oh, my God. It was so. Deb watched it on TikTok, and the other one went, "Oh my God!" went in there, and then it's just fantastic and a brilliant idea. Apparently, there's going to be a scene where Spider-Man's going to have to battle the face of his biggest hero, and wow, that's trouble. I think we're going to have to wait a couple of years to see it. But, lots of really exciting things happening, in the franchises that I like, but in relation to Star Trek, obviously they're ending Star Trek Discovery. Again, I'm slightly behind on that one. Star Trek Picard is coming to an end, and I'm thinking, what are they going to do with it? Because obviously Star Wars is still ploughing out stuff, maybe too much, but I'm wondering how they can sort of revitalise the Star Trek franchise. They've managed to do it with Doctor Who again, despite what some people think. But what do you think, Kirby, and how they can revitalise Star Trek?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not completely up to date on Star Trek. I do know that they just put out a series on Netflix instead of Paramount Plus. I don't know all of these things, except I heard that it's really,
cartoon comedy series,
good.
Isn't there? And I think there's a cartoon comedy series, is it Under the Decks or something like that, which is
something like that. And,
Prime.
And, from people, I've heard that people say that it's absolutely fantastic.
All right, I saw a couple of episodes.
I am going to try and watch it on Netflix. The biggest problem in this household with Netflix is that we can only have 2 TVs at a time watching Netflix, and we usually have at least 2 people watching Netflix at all times.
Yeah, I've got a higher grade of Netflix account, but at the moment it's only me and Deb in the house watching Netflix. So Deb will be in one room watching her drama programs, and I'll be in the other room watching my history and documentary programs. Good documentary.
And I can't justify upgrading to the next tier because we just have too many streaming services anyway.
Tell me about it.
Yes.
Every time I turn around, I see something I want. It's always on a streaming service I don't have.
There's a lot of stuff that I want to see that's not on streaming service. I see a lot of stuff on Apple TV that I want that I don't have it at Paramount. And there's one other that I don't have.
I had Apple TV service for the longest time, and then they just were not offering much of anything, so I quit it.
Trouble is, all their long-running series ended, didn't they? And then they didn't really replace them with anything half decent. There you go.
So, Kim, are we ready to tell what we've been watching?
I wasn't planning to do that. I'm quite happy for you to do so. I'll go on then. I won't do mine first simply because I wasn't thinking we were doing it. I haven't actually been able to sort of collate
Well,
it.
you
So
just
carry
told
on.
us a whole bunch of what you've been watching.
No, that's films. That's films and books. Carry on, Kirby.
Well, last week, Geek Daughter and I finished The Acolyte, which I really, really liked. That's the latest Star Wars. It's set about 1,000 years before Luke Skywalker and company. And
1,000 years? Do you say
Yeah, I think
1,000
so.
years? Oh.
maybe is it 100 years or 1,000 years?
Well, I don't know.
It's something like that. It's in the time of the Old Republic.
Okay.
But
over my head.
it's really, really good.
Okay.
I'll try and find out exactly when. And then the other thing, the main reason that I have not been paying too much attention to San Diego Comic-Con is because on my Oculus Quest, the mini golf that I absolutely love to play just came out with a new overlay, new course based on Wallace and Gromit. And It is great. There are so many Easter eggs in there, Wallace and Gromit stuff. And every time I play, I keep finding more stuff. It's just, it is wonderful. I've put a video out there on my regular Facebook. It's also on Instagram threads that showing 2 holes in one I made the first night that it came out. And I made 3 more holes in one, including a repeat of one of the others last night. But it is so much fun. The harder course is based on the third of the Wallace and Gromit shorts, the one with the sheep. And sheep have taken over Wallace's house, and it's perfect.
Oh, sorry. I was just looking for the remote control in my drawer. I can't put...
As if you're at all interested in Wallace and Gromit.
I found it. Okay. Right then. So if I hand over to Mary while I'm still researching what I've been watching. No, I wasn't expecting silence. Oh yeah, sorry. Ian Kirk said Welsh Pool cameo. There's one of the Deadpool's. Oh, that's a bit of a spoiler, isn't it? Well, it is. I did say it was timey-wimey. Is got a Welsh Deadpool outfit, which was quite good. Anyway, you carry on, Mary. Sorry. She's still there.
I'm sorry.
Mary.
Talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't ready to talk about anything that I've seen, but I mean, I've been watching a lot of baseball, but that's not news. And in Big Finish, I've kind of gone back into the Gallifrey series, and so I'm listening to those stories. That's with Romana, and as the president of Gallifrey, and Leela is her security person.
Romana too, I presume.
Yeah,
Well,
Romana
I mean,
too.
Romana 1, is it?
And I've been seeing
the missing adventures of Romana 1.
Yeah.
I've been noticing there's a lot of chatter about how there may not be a season 3 of Doctor Who, that Ncuti Gatwa is already not committing to the fact that he might not come back, and Russell Davies is like saying, oh, we're so busy with season 2, I can't make any comment about 3. And there's also chatter, that Disney is not as in love with it as they were. So there's worry and conversation out there that it may not go on. And then I saw a big long article by somebody at Disney saying, oh, no, this is the best. Oh, and the BBC, this is the best thing that ever happened. And
yep.
There's all this viewership and we're making all this money. And, there's no doubt we're going to go on with Doctor Who. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and
yes.
they filled Hall H the other night.
It's quite possible, and I know, Donald Trump does say about this fake news thing, but he is right. There is fake news everywhere, isn't there? Some of it isn't fake though, and they say it is, but there is fake news out there, and I think it's basically the people like your Ian Levines and your traditionalists in regards to Doctor Who that will just decide it's a flop because they hate it. So, and people who also are like-minded will jump on that bandwagon. But yeah, it's this day and age. I mean, it used to be quite simple back in the 70s. They used to post the ratings, didn't they? Because there wasn't any internet or anything, and then they just used to stick to that. But now we've got a lot of people don't watch live TV anymore. You have to wait for the downloads, the streaming ratings, and stuff like that, and it takes probably a little bit more time to coagulate. That's the wrong word, isn't it?
Yeah.
To accumulate the actual figures for how much. I mean, you look at that. I mean, it's probably that Doctor Who, even though it may not have quite hit the heady heights they were expecting, has still got a massive audience for a BBC show.
Here's a short summary. BBC praises Doctor Who in its annual report, naming the show as one of its programming highlights of the year, reveals that it's contributed £256 million to the UK economy, citing the Whoniverse and Disney Plus deal as transformative.
Yeah, well, you say about the UK economy. I saw an article somewhere about how much Doctor Who contributes to the Welsh economy, because people travel to Wales to see areas.
I guess they're just combining the one from the other.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'll get you there. But I mean, it's if they're doing spin-offs, I can't see Disney
and then there's
wasting money.
There's the complaints that we're only getting 6 episodes, we're only getting 8 episodes, so that must mean that they're not committed. Yeah. But I've been noticing on other series that I watch on various streaming services that are British made, that they too only have maybe 6 or maybe 8
that's right.
episodes.
That's right.
So that's pretty typical. I mean,
that's just the new reality of TV making now, I think.
Actually, they've been doing that sort of thing for a long time. If you go back and watch Blackadder, those were only 6 or 8, and even the IT Crowd is only 8 episodes a season.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, but if you look at, there's a series on Disney Plus, Ryan Reynolds again, Welcome to Wrexham, I think it's called. That's quite a few episodes per series. So it just depends on how many they want to do. I mean, how many episodes in a Mandalorian series? There's not that many, is there? They've got 8, is it? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's about the same.
And there were only 8 episodes of The Acolyte.
I don't know what that is, but never mind.
The Acolyte is the Star Wars thing that just finished, 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I've managed to sort of go through some of the stuff I've been watching. Sorry if I sound a bit distant because I'm turning towards a TV screen for reference. Dragon's Den, we recorded them ages ago and just watched them when we haven't got anything else to watch, and they're always a very good show. I've been watching, there's a thing on Talking Pictures TV, which is all the rank organisations' little documentary films about life in the 60s. Sometimes they're rubbish, sometimes they're really good. Bake Off Professionals, we haven't watched that yet. I don't know if I ever will. Deb sort of recorded it. We always used to watch it, but I've got a bit bored with Bake Off programmes, to be fair. What else we got here? There's a film called London 48, How Britain Saved the Olympics. That's quite interesting, bearing in mind obviously the 1948 Olympics was just after the war, and Britain had no money, was still sort of wrapped by rationing and stuff like that, and people thought, well, why is the government ploughing all this money into a sporting event when people are struggling? No, but apparently it was a massive success in Britain and caused the Olympics to still be around now. There's a documentary series on BBC called Fake or Fortune. It's riveting. If you like art and stuff, well, I'd like art to a certain extent. But basically, people may have an heirloom in their families that might be something like a Monet painting or something like that. But you can't be 100% sure because of the fakers around. And these people look into the history of the painting and do like forensic examinations on it, stuff like that, to establish as to whether it's a genuine one or not. And this series is a long-running series. It's absolutely fascinating. One, to see the history of the painting itself, other paintings, the artist, sometimes sculptures, and a lot of the times they are genuine and they're worth an absolute fortune. Like you get people buying a bit of work of art for a car boot sale for 50 quid, and it turns out that it's worth £200,000. It's a really, really good show. It's been around for a while, but I've only just found it. There's Changing Ends, which is a comedy featuring Alan Carr, written by Alan Carr, featuring Young Nipper, who plays the young Alan Carr in the 1980s. Very good show. I hope you get to see it in the US at some point, but you don't know who Alan Carr is, so probably won't make any difference to you. I've recorded a show called Women on Death Row. I'll watch that one when I'm in the mood. And there's a series on Netflix, I think it's Murder in Los Angeles, that talks about old police shows, old police investigations that went a bit cold, and because of DNA and stuff, they're able to find out who the actual killers are now. So that's quite good. Yeah, that's about it, really. Love Island. I'm not going to say anything more about that. It's just something we watch at dinner time. Don't know why I watch it. I detest the.
I don't even know what that is.
Do I know what it is? Did you say?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, think yourself lucky. It's not worth watching, honestly, but we do watch it. Yeah, so that's it. I'm looking forward, hopefully, to watching, because we went to see the show Wicked a few weeks ago in Southampton, when it was for Isabella's 18th birthday.
Oh, the movie looks like it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that movie, even though I know the story thoroughly. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I'm reading the book. I've never, even though a touring production has come through Atlanta several times, I've not had a chance to see it. I really am looking forward to the movie.
Yeah, I am. It's a really good show, actually, as a theatrical exhibition, especially if they've got really, really good singers at it, which I've never seen a show and them not have really good singers. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like I say, watching the Minions film at the cinema as well will be quite good. Well, I don't know if I've mentioned this, because I can't remember what we talked about last time, but the London Winter Comic Con lineup is starting to be put together, and Ncuti Gatwa is a part of that lineup. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that I'm going to be allowed to go and meet Ncuti. I'm thinking of maybe.
I think it's going to be very expensive.
I don't care. I'm thinking about potentially going along wearing Alistair's Sixth Doctor coat and see if I can get Ncuti to wear it in a picture.
Oh, that's great. I like the idea.
I think Ncuti would like it, Alistair would like it, and I would love it. So I'm keeping fingers crossed on that one. Lillian Robbins says the Acolyte is set 100 years before Phantom Menace. Does that answer your question?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Out-pedanted there, I think. And obviously, I say obviously, that's what they say on Love Island too much, because it's not obvious. We're going to London in a few weeks' time to have a bit of fun, really. We're going to, I must send a message to Valila, who plans to see us up there, but I keep forgetting to give her our itinerary. We'll have to get it, because you know how slow she is on responding. But yeah, so we're going up to the Harry Potter studios again, because they always dress it up slightly differently when you go, so it's always something new up there. And Owen, Isabella's boyfriend, hasn't been before. And then we're going to Buckingham Palace the next day, staying at a hotel in Docklands. I went to Buckingham Palace about 12 years ago, something like that. But Alicia hasn't seen it. Sorry, Alicia came with me. Deb hasn't seen it, and Isabella hasn't. So certainly Owen hasn't seen it. We might be going to the British Museum as well. We haven't planned that one, but you don't have to get a ticket for that. I think you can just walk in. And then we're going to the Houses of Parliament the next day. And I think that's probably about it, really. But yeah, I plan to have up to London for a bit of sightseeing, a bit of fun. Oh yeah, of course.
Watch out for a alien spacecraft hitting the bell tower.
I hope not. But the one exciting thing for myself is we're going to the 40 Towers stage show. I'm really looking forward to that. That's probably something I'm going to be sat down in theatre laughing my head off, like I was at the Deadpool film. But yeah, so there we go. And next time we've got, is it Face the Raven or something like that?
Yes, Face the Raven.
Oh my God, you're telling me I got the title right. You're joking.
Yeah, of course you did. You're the boss.
That means I can call it anything. And when I say next time, I'm now going to check my calendar. I think we're going to be all right because I'm starting to catch up with work. So I think we might be all right for next week. Let's have a look. I'm just waiting for this calendar to load. Could be all right. I'm doing the Chales show on the Saturday. I can't do it on the Sunday because I'm working. That opens up the 11th as well. But other than that, I think the 18th is a possibility. I'm not sure actually.
So we're doing it on the 18th?
No, we're doing it on the 4th.
4th?
At the moment, until I hear otherwise. But yeah, so we're right for that.
So in just 1 week, we need to watch. There's all kinds of.
Hang on, Face the Raven's just one episode, isn't it?
Wait,
yes,
so
this is
we're
one
doing
episode.
it on August 11th?
I should be available on August 11th as well, Mary. Fingers crossed. So next one is next
Raven
week.
Is the 4th.
Yeah, next week. Face the Raven.
Next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I remember having mixed feelings about it. I think I'm going to like it this time.
Good. I don't think I've probably forgotten something, to be fair, but I usually do. But all I can say is watch Deadpool Wolverine. Hilarious.
I will when it comes out on streaming.
Watching the cinema. It's great when you're in a big... most people have actually been at the cinema with watching a film for quite a while. So it's quite a well...
I went to a movie last week, remember?
Yeah, I'm not interested in that.
But
I'm just
it was
trying
silent.
to say, it's more fun. It would have been silence in the audience too. When you're in an audience with a load of people reacting to the comedy within a production. It's quite good fun. Right. So...
Unless reacting inappropriately and then it ruins it for you.
There is a certain degree of inappropriate. There is laddish humour in it, Mary. I will agree. But I suppose if you don't like the MCU, then I'd probably say don't watch it. To be fair, but it's a very much a spoof of the MCU as part of the MCU. So I actually have a lot of admiration for massive franchises that produce amazing movies, amazing stories, great acting, production values or whatever, who can then take the mickey out of themselves. I actually love that. And that's the heart of what Deadpool.
The first
Wolverine
Deadpool
is.
film, and for some reason I haven't had a chance to see the second one. I need to see it.
Yeah, definitely see the second one. It's very clever. It's just brilliant. They're very, very good.
I love that first one.
Yeah, they're just very, very good films, and it's but this one, and it's unusual. You get a third instalment, which is probably better than its previous predecessors. There you go. But yeah, again, you have to have a certain love of the MCU, and all the characters within the MCU to get everything within the Deadpool Wolverine film. But as I say, the on-screen chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds makes the movie brilliant. Right. But anyway.
Okay, I see that it's on Disney Plus, Deadpool 2, so I'll try and watch it soonish.
Yeah, surprising, isn't it? I think Sony got a hand in... Because I know there's an issue with Sony and Disney, isn't there?
Yeah, there was an issue, but I believe Disney ended up buying Sony or something like that.
Oh, did that?
That's why they could bring in Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
That's how you solve your problems. You just buy the company that you're doing it. Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing that I continue to, by the way, I forgot one other thing. I'm looking over here at the collection of DVDs. Is that I'm continuing to watch 68 Batman, following along with the Bat Chums podcast.
The what? The what, Chums?
You've heard of
What'd you say?
Batman?
I've heard of Batman, but you said something podcast. What did you say?
Oh, there's a podcast that is put out by one of the people on it is Mike Gordon. He's one part of Earth Station Who. He and some other chap who I've met once are doing a podcast where they're going through Batman, all of the original Adam West Batman, episodes one at a time,
Right.
waiting a week between the cliffhangers,
Right.
and reviewing each one. It's called Bat Chums, and it
Sounds a bit
great.
rude, but there you go.
Bat Chums.
Yes, it does. Sound a bit like a euphemism for something.
So
There
if you like a couple of people who love Batman, the funny Batman, go out and listen to and watch. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
The Bat Chums podcast.
Thank you for that plug. I don't know if they deserved it or not, but that I'll let it
Of course
ride.
they deserve it.
Lillian Robbins says you were excused, by the way, Kirby, in regards to getting the amount of
thank
years
you.
wrong. Okay. Now, how could I? No, you actually gave me a clue earlier on, Mary, when you said what you've been watching in regards to baseball and whatnot. Of course, it's the Olympics. The Olympics are on at the moment. So I know baseball isn't one of the Olympic sports. However, basketball is, amongst other things. Now, I've been dabbling quite heavily, apart from the opening ceremony, which was dire. I know it rained a lot, but it was absolutely dire. But I've been watching a lot of the badminton. I watched a little bit of the I think Canada playing in one of the basketball competitions, which was quite interesting as well. But the thing that I've really picked up on is women's beach volleyball. Oh, my God. I must thank the producers in Paris for having such low camera angles, because it's a very interesting sport. I don't know who's winning or whatever, but it's a very good sport to watch. Just saying. But yeah, no, the Olympics are on, and and nowadays you can pick and choose what you want to watch, which is fab, because back in the day you just had to sit through boring stuff and then until something interesting came along, because usually the BBC companies would wait for something happening to the British athletes or whatever, and you'd watch that. But there's so much other interesting stuff going on, you might as well just watch what you want to watch. So hockey.
I asked my wife, are we going to subscribe to the whatever streaming service does the Olympics, and she said, nah, it's not.
Oh, do you want to watch the Olympics then, Kirby?
Huh?
Do you want to watch the Olympics?
I'm just watching highlights as they come through other channels.
I thought you didn't like sport.
We just aren't getting the service that's got it all on. We have for winter we do, because we're curling fanatics.
Yeah, I got that, but I mean, there's bowls is on the Commonwealth Games, isn't it? It's a bit like it bamboozled me by saying that, because I thought you were just going to start making that stupid snoring noise, because I was just going to start referring to cricket and how much.
You were under the impression that I dislike all sports?
Well, all sports apart from curling, yes.
No, I actually enjoy the Winter and Summer Olympics. It's just I couldn't convince my wife to let us buy the Summer Olympics.
So when I tell you that cricket is becoming so big now that it's actually becoming an actual proper sport in the US, so it's becoming a proper international sport, that would surprise you, would you?
No, I'm the one who told you a few months ago that there's a major cricket practice field within 30, 45 minutes drive from where I am.
I can feel Andy Nunny fidgeting in his seat as we speak.
I've considered driving up there to see it.
Sorry, Mary, you were saying? Sorry.
Well, I see that they've added break dancing.
Oh, God. Yes, I know. I heard this. Yeah, that's not for me.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but if you look back to the when the Olympics came back at the end of the Victorian era, they had art as part of the Olympics. So people would be painting pictures and doing sculptures, and that would be marked as an Olympic activity, shall we say. And also women were banned from the first Olympics, because apparently in those days women weren't allowed to sweat, probably because they didn't have deodorants or anything like that. Nobody wanted a smelly lady around the place today. So there you go. Right. I'm glad to say that there's some of my favourite shows regarding what they call it, family history coming up soon. There's a new series of Who Do You Think You Are being made, and Long Lost Family is currently on at the moment. And I've streamlined my family tree, because there's a new feature on Ancestry where you can delete your duplicates, which has taken about 2,000 people out of my family tree and made it easier to trace.
Why? You're related to everyone. Why would you cut 2,000
Oh,
people
yeah, I know.
out?
So it's a bit of a broad thing to say you're related to everyone. But of course, that's true. But when you know specifically who you're related to, and you may have seen that TikTok I put out before I finished the show, that TikTok I put out when I was saying, no, it's all very well being sort of finding out how you're related to Clint Eastwood and Prince William and things like that. But when you trace your line back and you find a Blackadder in your family history, that's very exciting to somebody who's a Blackadder fan. So I posted a TikTok to that very, very fact. Because I was just tracing back a Bruce line to see if it was connected to another connection to Robert the Bruce. Because I've got a degree of Scottishness like you, Kirby. I think it's like 16% or something like that. And then the Blackadder is a Scottish name.
Go ahead.
Blackadder's a Scottish name. It's a little townlet in Scotland.
That reminds me, you're bringing up Scottish. 9 years ago, when we were discussing the story we just discussed,
yes,
we had the first ever audio feedback from Jeff Waddle.
Yes, that didn't last very long, did it?
I'm just saying that
you don't get anything back from him now.
Yeah,
I think one of the writers upset him, if I remember rightly. Right then, so we better sort of wind up the show now, otherwise people will start falling asleep, or maybe people want to get off to fall asleep. Somebody's left anyway, so of course we've gone down to 2 viewers, sorry. So hopefully we'll get some other people back, probably Debbie, next time. And so watch, what's it called? Something the Raven.
Face the Raven.
Yeah, Face the Raven.
Face the Raven, as we come to the end of the Jenna Coleman is hot part of.
Well, sort of.
Is he going to start saying...
Doctor digging his way through rocks to find her.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
I love that story, though.
There was a drama I didn't watch, or a comedy drama I didn't watch on recently with Hugh Bonneville and Karen Gillan, which Deb watched. I can't remember what it's bloody called now. Deb's probably still watching it. It's called... Bear with. Where is it? Oh, Douglas is Cancelled. It features Alex Kingston, Karen Gillan, and Hugh Bonneville, a few ex-Doctor Who people in there. Apparently it's very funny, and it's about a news anchor that had a negative story arrive in the internet about him, which affected his position in his job. So keep an eye out for that one, especially if you like peripheral Doctor Who characters, actors. Anyway, so until next time, thank you for listening, watching, taking part in the show. Please continue to do so. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Fancy Pants.
Bye.
The 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast is an APV Services production, sponsored by whowon.co.uk and lavazi.co.uk. We are proud members of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance. Doctor Who is a trademark of the BBC. No copyright infringement intended. The music on this podcast is covered by limited online music license from PRS for Music.